So what Burhan does is he puts his own lock on it. So now the letter has two locks on it and sends it back. Okay? So it gets back to Zafar. What I do is I unlocks it. I remove the lock and sends it back. Now my lock is removed here. Now when the letter is going back, it's still locked, right? If the letter is still locked, who is the only person going to be unlock it now?
Burhan.
Yeah, that's it, Burhan. So this is what is exactly happening here. Is when you get it back, because you have put your lock on it, so you could decode the message. So first thing is going with the encryption key, and then it gets back with the second encryption key, and then encryption is removed, and then you get back it, and then the connection tunnel is established here. So the fingerprints, here it says fingerprints are exchanged. And then once the tunnel is established, then there is a trust. Then there is a trust is established too. Okay, so next time when you're going to do it, it's not going to do this. Next time what it's going to do is same thing is going to happen, but the public key will be, next time what I'll do is I'll be sending out your known public key. So if Burhan and Zafar establishes a connection, we have some history going on, then you know if this something is coming from a trusted source, then the connection is established. It doesn't ask for the password on the second time. So let's see here. If I do ls-l, right, and if I do cat known host, so this public key, this secret key was established between these two servers here. Okay, this is actually a public key. So what will happen is the public key goes on. So next time I'm connecting to Burhan, what I'm going to do is I already have a token that Burhan gave me as a trusted source. So I'm going to give that to him, and then he will verify it, and then he'll accept the connection. Okay.
So is this that token? What you have highlighted?
Yep. This is the token. I have it here. So now if I do SSH to 109, I'm just wasting time here. So if I do SSH to 109, it's not asking what it asked earlier here. This part is skipped here, and then only it's asking for the password now. So if I type Red Hat, there you go. The connection is established. Now if I go in there, let me exit out of here. Now you are in 102, and this server could be anywhere in the world. When I was working for Apple, they had servers in Singapore, and exactly I was looking at the server. Unless you look up in your database that where the server is located, it will all act as same any other server, and the connection will be instantaneously, just connects right away, even though it's going. I mean, the communication these days is so fast. There is no latency anywhere in the world. Even if you're trying to connect using WebEx and all that, those communication are even faster. Now somebody could connect to WebEx right now anywhere in the world, and they won't have any issue connecting. So with SSH, since there is no graphics, anything like that, it's connecting even faster. So if I go in here, I exit, and if I mess up this file here, right? If I mess up this file, I'll just type some garbage in front of it and save and exit. So when I do this here, what is going to happen?
Is it going to go through the whole script again?
Yep, it's going to go through whole script again, and then it will make another entry into this here. It will keep the entry into this file and make a new entry. There you go. You said yes. You do password. You are into the server. I'm going to exit back. Let's go back into the file. There you go. It makes another entry. So at work, yeah, go ahead.
Since you got it trusted through this computer, will it work from the ZMPT02 trying to connect to original?
Nope, it's one-way connection now.
Okay.
So you have to establish on the trust on both sides.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I think he's having trouble connecting. He said he can't hear anyone.
He's having trouble.
Yeah. He sent it in a message in the WebEx. That I do not isn't talking.
Okay. I'm sharing screen. Or let me send him the...
He might be having the same problem I had, where he needs to just adjust speakers and audio in the audio and video settings in WebEx.
Yeah. I think it started with me yesterday, and then here's the thing, WebEx is keep updating. Every 2 weeks a new update comes in.
Oh, okay.
Maybe can he disconnect and reconnect? Okay, he disconnected. While he joins in, SSD. Are you able to hear now, Adil? Okay. SSH.
What is SSL in Linux?
SSL is the certificate here. Like when you go, there is a lock here.
Yes.
You see the lock on the browser here. This is SSL. It's a certificate. Okay. Usually, operating system is able to issue it, but there are authorities out there like Google and Computer Associates, GoDaddy. They will issue the SSL ID also.
Okay.
So this is something secure SSL issued. Actually, see, this is what all this is. This is all this coming from. These are SSH keys and all that. So you could issue your own operating system. You could issue your own SSL certificate for your own website. That is as good as not verified one because it's being generated by either the Linux or Windows operating system. Okay, but it will give you an error here says do you want to trust or not. You may have seen it sometimes. So what it exactly means is it is actually that is coming up right now. Yeah, let me look at this here. Okay, here, so it's sending the key. So it's sending the encryption message, but it's not showing two keys here, right? It sends one key. Okay, so it initiates the connection. And then this one sends a random message. No, this is wrong. Can you hear us now? Let me call him.
I hear you now. I just restarted the WebEx.
Yeah, the WebEx is the culprit. Even yesterday mine was...
Actually, I'm having a little bit of issue with my internet too. Somebody's coming to take a look at it on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, for some reason I'm not finding good graphics here for SSH. I don't know why, but for now this is good. Yeah, I'll try to find something during week.
Okay.
Oh, okay, let's do this here. Initiates the connection, sends the random key, random message, encrypts the message with the private key. Okay, I'll try to get this here. Okay, so let's move forward. So now what is happening here is
See?
so each time we connect here, even though we established a relationship between two servers here, it's asking for the password. Each time you connect to a server, it's causing a problem. I mean, it's asking for a password here. So I mean, as an admin, you shouldn't be bugged with asking a password each time, right? So what you need to do is there is a concept called okay, so let me get out of this. So you connect here and root. So you're logged into the server here now, right? Okay, so and let me type host name. So now so the people who are like not administrator, okay, so how would they connect? So let's try to connect to our the server. What is the server we have? Let me get the IP. So Putty is at Putty. What Putty is doing is, okay, the server is up, and let me. So in here, what you do is you type this in, and you save it as assignment. And the connection type over here, we're doing SSH, right? So when I do open here, okay, the server is down. Let's see, why is it down? Give me 1 second here. Okay, so it's up now. Let's see if it's working. Yeah, I'm in. So with PuTTY, all we're doing is so PuTTY is kind of helping us way too much than supposed to. So if I type IP address and I type in here, okay, so it's asking me to type in the username and password. So I'm going to type Zafar, and then I'm going to type my password. Okay, so I'm logged in here, right? So I'm going to clear this. And so if you want to connect within from PuTTY to another server here, how you going to do that? Okay, you type SSH and then Zafar, then you type @ and then you type IP address. Okay, once you type this here, what's going to happen is so connecting as non-root user. Okay, so this is how the most of the application team you will be supporting, they will be connecting here. So now you see here, I will get the same exact message. See, it's exchanging the fingerprints and all that, and then it's want to confirm yes. Now it needs the password for Zafar. Okay, so I'm gonna put in the password for Zafar. If it's by default, if you don't put a Zafar @ it will connect as root. See, and now I'm connected in there. Okay, so now if I exit out of here and if I go to VI known host, I should have a public key. I should have a public key for that server here. Next time when I connect, is not, there won't be authentication anymore. So let me try connecting again. So see, it will definitely directly ask me for the password. There you go. I'm gonna exit out of there. So the public key is being set here. Uh-oh.
So you use the Zephyr @ to, like, that's how you're supposed to do it, log into a server, like when you have multiple users?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, come on. See, all this is, from here to here is one single line. And how am I going to break this up? Okay, let's break this up at this point. And at the slash. And what I'm gonna do is to get that message again. Yes. So, no, even if you're non-root, you could do that. You could even specify as a root, it doesn't matter. But if you don't specify anything, then it will automatically assume you are a root. That's why it's going to connect. It will ask for the root password regardless what it is. Okay. Now this message will come up for each user. Okay, so let's see here what happens. What happens if I do it without? Okay, so because I connected as Zafar, but it's sitting in known homes for the root. Okay. So whatever user you're connecting from, that's where the file is kept in. On the local server, I'm trying to connect as a different user, then that prompt will come up again. So this is the user. You're
saying which prompt?
Yeah, this prompt.
Okay.
This message will come up here. So since I'm connecting as a root, even though I try to connect directly in here, the public key is saved into this folder here. cd.sh, right? And if I do cat known host, this is where the cd is. So it's picking up from here. So in here, if I was logged in, if somebody else logged in on the server as somebody else, then a prompt will come up again. So each user ID will have to establish the connection each time, because you never know, right? If the system connects here, I mean, here's a foolproof way how the system works is. So you have access to coming into to the building, right? So, but what happens if you try to go into the same exact building from the side door? Okay, so if you have access to coming in the building, that doesn't mean you have access coming inside the building from the side door. So most of the time, if you try to go in from the side door and scan your badge, it may not work because you are expected to come in from the front door. So that's what is happening here. Okay, so this is good information. And oh God. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to establish a passwordless connection. As an admin, you don't need to be bugged with having a system to be asking you for the password here. What if you're troubleshooting 10 servers, 20 servers, maybe 100 servers? Each time you want to go into more than one servers, and I mean logging into one server or maybe two server and asking password each time is okay, right? But it's going to be a problem if it's going to ask you the password each time for multiple servers. So what we have here is called passwordless. So passwordless means is actually you have to establish a two-way connection, two-way authentication on both sides. What will happen that way is the passwordless will allow you to connect on both sides here. So I'll show you how. So let's see here, passwordless SSH. So the package you need is already installed on the server here, right? It comes with the operating system. So how do you know you have the OpenSSH installed? What you do is type which OpenSSH OpenSSH server. Oh, that's a bad command, I think. No, don't use that. Use systemctl. I'm going to introduce this officially. Systemctl status SSHD, and it says this is an open server daemon, and it says active. Okay, we're gonna come back and then determine what daemon is. I'll tell you that. But any Linux system should have the SSH utility already installed on it and working. It's a part of a basic operating system that Linux system needs. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is do I need I don't think I need to install this software. Okay, so look closely here. So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to go to cd -ssh. In this place, what we have is hidden. It will create a bunch of files in here. What the next step, what I'm going to do here is, so what I'm going to do is run the command ssh key gen. So what it's going to do is, this is a built-in command. It's going to generate the key for us. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter. And then it says enter a file in which you want to save. Okay, so right now this file doesn't exist. So it's going to create a file with that name here. Okay, so I did ls-l. The only file which is here sitting in there right now is no. So this is going to be a new file that will be created.
Okay.
And then it's asking for a paraphrase. most of the time it's blank here. All you do is just hit enter. It's gonna ask the paraphrase again, so we are not doing anything, so hit enter. And what it did here is it created a RSA key, and it also created another key which is a public key. Now we're gonna use the public key as a authentication token here. Okay, so before I forget, let me copy this. So here, hit enter. Over here, same thing, hit enter. Okay, and then this here generates this is a private key. Yeah, actually this is a private key. Okay, and then
Private?
I'm sorry?
The key is private?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the key is there's a private key and a public key.
Okay.
So this is a public key. We'll go in there and take a look here. It's a big alphanumeric key that we could see in there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clear the screen. I'm gonna pwd, and I'm gonna do ls-la. So now we have this key was already there. This is a new public key, and then this is a private key. So let's take a look. So let's see here. So if you look at the date timestamp, it was created when we were doing whatever we were doing. Private key. And this one ends with .pub. That means it's a public key. Okay. So now this one, it's saves a public key. I mean, all this process, in all honesty, it's a complex thing is going on in the background here. And to understand all that here, I mean, you have to be cryptographer for you to understand everything which is going on with this passwords and all that. Okay, this saves the public key of previously connected hosts. Okay, so we have all these three things. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is so let's cat this. Let's look in there and see what's in there. So, ooh, look at that. It says on the bottom here is a RSA private key. Okay, so this is the key generated by SSL. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and download.
You said generated SSL?
Yeah. Secure certificate details and right here public key, and is there a private key here? I guess we can't see the private key, only public key is shareable.
I sent a link for SSH key diagram. I don't know if it's any good, but it shows some explanation for how it uses a private key.
Okay, so let me copy that. Okay, so what is this doing is
It's using the secret or private key to encrypt the message between the two.
So it's initiates the connection. It says generate random key, right? But it's locked though. And encrypt the message with the secret key.
Is the secret key the same thing as the private key, or is it something different?
Secret key is usually a public key.
Okay.
See, I'm pretty sure public key is a part of private key. So let's take a look here. Okay, so look at this size here. It's pretty hefty. And let me clear this. LA can't. So I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to do a find. So this is alphanumeric cryptographed. It's a cryptography. So this key, I mean, it's like a old Bollywood movies, you know. I mean, you've probably seen if they want, if they're sending or doing any drug deals, they rip off the paper bill, and then the other party will have other half and you have other half, and then when both match, then you do the deal. That's what this is. Yeah, I mean, just looking at it doesn't tell us anything, because the system, the operating system has built-in capability to decrypt it. So if I look at it here, so it decrypts the messages here, but still doesn't tell me. So very first thing, even before it sends the regular message here, the first part is also locked. The first message is locked. Okay, when it sends the first message, this server receives the message, but it can't open it, right?
Yeah.
What it does is it puts its own lock on it. Now there are two locks on it. And then it comes back to client. What client does is, client removes his lock and sends it back with his existing lock on it. And since he has his own key, he unlocks it. Then he gets the message that the message is coming from the client. Okay. And then once the keys, see, here's the thing here. The key is different than the message. See, it's sending the message. It says it generates the random message, but the random message is not open text message. This message, it's sending it. Okay, so if it's sending the locked message here, so then encrypt encrypt message with secret key. So it's again doing the encryption. But where is the decryption happening? So it decrypt the encrypted random message using the no. This is not right. Okay, I'll work through the weekend and see if I find any better information here. Okay, so let's move forward here. So now you have seen here we have this key, and this is the private key here. So what's going to happen next is, now what you need to do is, now you need to know the host. So you need to call, now we are, each time we connecting is causing us a problem here, right? So in here, if I do ls-la, the hidden folder is not set here, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna run the command copy SSH ID, SSH copy hyphen ID, okay? And then what's gonna do is it's gonna copy the public key, which is this one here, and then put it in here. It will create a hidden folder .ssh and put it in it to the known hosts, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the known host, is there in the known host folder, is there already a public key saved?
No,
in
see,
there?
I mean, this is in the second, in this host here, there's nothing in there.
Okay.
If you do ls-la, there's not even a hidden folder here too.
Okay. No, I'm saying in the CMPT one.
When we're gonna establish the connection, it's gonna do that. In fact, what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to remove the content of the known host here too. What I'm going to do is move known host to known host dot back. So known host is gone. So known host dot back is not the same as known host, okay? So what I'm going to do is clear this.
What does the dot back do?
It's a different name. I renamed it, right?
Oh, no.
So the system is not gonna. System says, okay, this is not the file I'm looking for. I just gave it dot back so that it's randomly. You could just give it any other name. Okay, I just gave it. Usually, a good rule of thumb in your environment is give it a .bak so that your colleagues know this is a backup file of the original file. Okay.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is.
No, but what I'm saying is like, wait, why did we do that? Why did we make it known as a backup file now?
Because the next command is going to generate the one also. Okay, the reason I did it as if we are doing it for the very first time. So now the reason I did is instead of deleting it, I just gave it a dot back so that a system would create dot back file here. I mean the known host file here as well as in here too.
Okay.
So SSH copy -ID and then the IP address 192.160. What is the IP address here? 109 something, right? Yeah, 109. One 168.56.109. Okay, and then I'm gonna hit enter. So see, this is the first thing that is happening here, is doing the regular handshake. Okay, if I do ls here, so nothing is there yet. So it's doing the regular handshake, yes. And then now what it's doing is attempting to log in with the new key to filter out any other already installed. Okay, user info key remain to be installed if you are prompted. Now it's time to install the key. So now I'm gonna, okay, in fact over here it's telling you that you are connecting as root here. So I'm gonna give the password. So it says the number of keys added. Now logging into the machine with SSH and check, make sure only the key you wanted are added. Okay, now I'm going to do ls-la. See, now the folder is showing up here. Okay, it didn't have before. If you look in here, it didn't have it. Let's go into that folder, and if I do ls-la, now, oh, okay, so this over here is gonna say authorized keys. Okay, and then ls-la, we should have a known host backup here. So what kind of information authorized keys would have? It will have the public ID in there. So if I do public ID, cat public ID, you will have the same exact ID in there with the authorized keys. There you go. See here, from here to here is going to be the same exact keys. So now this file will keep getting bigger and bigger as the number of authorized users, authorized servers are there. The key is there.
So okay. This was the public key, right, from this initial client?
Yeah, the public key This key is in here now. So now next time I'm going to do SSH. It's not going to ask the password now, because the public key is already there. See, it didn't ask me for the password because the trust has already been established using the public key. So that's what I'm telling you. Remember one time when I introduced Linux, I talked about the root user. Now you have access to thousands and thousands of computers. Once you get in there, you don't have access. It will never ask you for the password. That's why having a root user, you have to be very, very, very careful, as well as use it responsibly.
So in like real life, like in a work setting, would this already be done, or would you have to go in?
It's already be done.
Okay.
If you are setting up a new servers, then you would set up all these.
All right.
With big banks and big companies, they have a dedicated team. All they're doing is like. In fact, I think if I told you guys or not, they have somebody called. You heard about Red Hats, right? Red Hat is Oz. Red Hat is not. If you say I'm a Red Hat, that means you are like a Linux engineer, okay, regardless of what flavor you are in. A white hat is a ethical hacker. They all major corporations, they have white hats, so that they would do a vulnerability checks. They keep on hacking into the systems and checking it, make sure the systems are up to date and everything. Okay, and the black hats are the ones we know as hackers. All three of them are using Linux here. The hackers, white hat, their primary tool is Linux, nothing but Linux. And that's where the majority of data is. Like any major banks, anybody, if they are using any serious application, it must be running on Linux. And then many times it is using Red Hat Linux.
Okay.
All right, so let's take a break here and then we'll reconvene. Let's say about 10-15 minutes is good.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try to change the hours here. I think hours are not working for people. So I'll put it in next week. We'll try to get 2 hours early. Would that work for you, 2 hours early, starting next week?
Yeah, that works for me.
That would be around 11. Yeah. So I have other classes be done by 10, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12 to 3 o'clock. 12 to 3 we should be good. Yeah, I'll put it in a chat and see everybody agrees, then we'll start at 12.
Okay.
Okay. So it saves the public key and so we ran this command ssh copy ID. So this command copies the ID. You could definitely do this manually though. Did you hear me? You could definitely copy and paste it. And if the file doesn't exist and the folder doesn't exist, you could do it manually.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and so it's saying source. This is the source here, and the destination is are you sure you want to? Okay, so this is our regular SSH, and we type yes, it copy, it's running it from there, but it's not going to tell you where it copied here. Okay, so
Since it's attempting to log in with the new keys, so what does it do with the previous keys that were already set between the two?
I deleted them, remember?
Oh, when you did the whole .back thing?
Yeah, it deleted it.
So in the current known host, it's just the new public key that you just generated, right?
Yeah. So if you check in here, cat, this is the new one.
Got the /.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm on a different computer. I'm on ZMPT02. So if I do cat known host, so it's in there. So regardless, if you're doing the password or not, there's a keys exchanged.
Okay. This is the token. This is not the key, right?
No, this is the token.
Okay. Is the token different from the previous one that was there?
That's a good
Can we look
question.
in the known? I think you just have to look in known host .back. You'll see the previous one, I think.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So this part here, yeah, it looks the same exact one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not changing it. So the static, the key is static.
So then, does that mean you don't actually have to delete the original known host? Or will it create a duplicate always?
So what I'm thinking is, if I'm doing this, is gonna create so this will be unique to each host. So this key, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna give the same exact key, because this is the public key in all essence. If you look at here, let me clear this. No, it's shorter than that. Yeah. ESDA. Okay. So, yeah, so each time a server connects, it is exchanging the token here and is giving the token here, and then this server is just keeping the token as it goes.
No, my question was like, you know how you basically deleted the original known host, but when you changed the name to .back, so it doesn't recognize it as at known host anymore. When you did the whole copy command, so would it does it create a whole brand new known host file?
It does.
Okay.
Because it has, when we're doing this here, it still has to do the regular SSH. It
So
has
if
to
you
do
didn't
that.
delete yeah.
So what it has to do is it has to do this regular SSH, okay? Because why is it doing the regular SSH? Because we are connecting for the very first time. In this scenario, the reason I deleted is doing the both things here, doing the copy as well as the regular SSH. So this part is a regular SSH up until here, and then after that it's called doing the copy execution.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you got some good questions. Okay, so now so here the whole idea is so you do regular you just type in SSH, voila, you don't have to type in password, okay? So all you have to do is just be careful how you're doing this. Here, the server, so what usually happens is from your computer, you connect to another server, which is called a jump server. And jump server is very hardened. From there, you do passwordless connection to any other production or non-production servers. Okay, but in a real world scenario, this is what's going to happen is it's going to be just there, already been set up. But if you end up being in an engineering group, you will be doing setup too, because if you are rotating or setting up new servers each time, you have to do all this.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see here. Let me go ahead and copy this part. Okay, so you are now into the different server. So here is one server. This is O2. You're logged into. And here, so LS-LA. Okay, so one other thing, let me just make sure I have it here is exit. Okay, so this is the same as okay, so I'm gonna highlight this here and you should see here these two are the same exact keys. So yeah, that should be enough here. So let me see if I could find. Yeah, actually, this is good. This looks good to me. So what is happening here is it is gonna make the tunnel connection. Okay, so okay, how do I do this here? So it makes the connection here, right? This is so hard to do it here. So there is a connection established. So establishing a connection with the public key. So the moment it sees the public key, then the connection is established here. Okay, so for us, that's all we need to understand. There's a lot more to it actually, but
So what's the purpose of the private key?
purpose of private key. Purpose of private key is so this is have you ever heard about the concept called key pair values? key pairs. Okay, when you go into bank locker, bank safe deposit locker, have you ever been to a bank safe deposit locker? No.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. What did you say?
Have you ever been to a bank safe deposit locker? Safe deposit
Yes.
locker.
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah. So when you want to access the safe deposit locker, you take your key with you, right? And then you sign in there, and then the banker has his key too. To open your own box, you have to the banker comes in there and unlocks the box, and you have to have your own key to unlock it. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in simple terms, that's the best example I could give, but it's a lot more complex than that.
In the diagram, it sends the decrypted message using the private key. Is that also another purpose of it?
No, I don't like the diagrams. The diagrams are not decrypts the message using private key. So after it receives it on the server, it's carrying the public key also. Public key is also a key. Okay, and then so far the diagrams I see I don't like it here.
Okay.
Like this is how it is. The bank locker. Like this one here. You have a bank locker here, 107. Every locker has two keys on it. One is your key, and then other one is a banker key. So if somebody tried to go in there, if banker tried to steal it, banker won't be able to steal anything because it needs your key also. So that's what it is for. See, if the thing is, if one person has one key, then you assume that he's able to do it, right? No, you have to have both parties present there to be able to do the unlocking. Yeah, the diagrams so far I don't like it here. I'm trying to find a good diagram this week. Okay, so. Okay, so that's about it for the password list. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a secure. We're gonna secure it a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is in a reality, you cannot directly connect to the server as a root. Okay, so here what will happen is you will have one server, you jump on that server from your local machine, and from there you could jump onto the other servers here. Bastion host. Yeah, it's a good example. I think this is from AWS. Yeah. So what you have to do is I'm going to put a note here. Okay, so if I'm trying to connect as a Zafar, I won't have access. That's a built-in security. For each user, you have to have a public and private key authorized, and then only the root is able to do that. The root is the one who is able to establish the connection. Regular users, they won't be able to copy the keys and all that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is let's secure the server.
Sorry, you cut out there. What did you say? Normal users won't be able to what?
Yeah. So far all these things are running smoothly because we are logged in as a user, right? As a root. Root has higher privileges than anybody else. So if I'm trying to log in as, if I'm logged in as Zafar here, right? And I'm trying to do run this command copy or do passwordless SSH and all that, those things doesn't work. And most of the time passwordless SSH is only afforded to root.
Okay. But even if you're logged in as Zafar, can you still connect to another server? Even if it's with password and all that?
Yeah, if you have passwords available, yes.
Okay.
So now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do configure host security. So what does this mean is deny direct root connection. Okay, so you could imagine, right, if you are able to connect directly into the system as root, then it's a problem. You shouldn't be able to connect into the system directly as root. What you could do is you could connect into the system as a regular user. From there, you could elevate your privileges, and if you have access, then you are able to connect as root. You will be able to switch as root. So let's do this here. So what I'm
That's-
gonna, yeah, go ahead.
So that's if you're trying to connect to another server as a regular user, right? And you're trying to get root access.
That's a good question. That's a question during the user administration.
Okay.
We're
But you
gonna
can
have,
still connect root if you're the root user, right?
if you are a root user, you should be able to connect without any problem.
Okay.
Yep.
You're
But
saying the only problem you'll get denied if you're just a regular user. That's when you'll have to elevate your permissions and everything, right?
exactly. So if you're admin, what you're gonna do is you're gonna log in as your regular admin ID, which is gonna be, for me, for example, Zafar. Okay. Then I will be put into the group. My ID will be put into the group of wheel group. I'll show you during administration. In that group, that group automatically gives you elevated access. One of them would be you should be able to switch your user to root. Okay, and once you do that, then you become root. So that way you are being tracked here. So there is a command. I was going to save this. There is a command called last, and hit enter. It does the reboot and login activity. It keeps the reboot and login activity here. So here, so far we've been logged in as root here. So let's connect to that remote server. So if I type last here, you should see all the activities. You should see who logged in at what time. I'll show you officially what this command means. So these are so many people are logged in, and these logs, sometimes these logs most of the times are saved into the separate logged servers. So there is another department called InfoSec, Information Security, and all those things are logged in there, and they could monitor from time to time what is going on. So if I logged in as Zafar, okay, and then let's do I'm gonna switch as okay, so I'm not in a sudo verse, so I'm gonna, since I know my root password directly, I'm gonna go in there. Now see, it's monitoring that there was a, wow, there are 340 failed login attempts since last successful login. Somebody's trying to hack in. Okay, so let's see here. When I run this command, so you see here who's logged in. It says the Zafar is still logged in, and it will monitor all the logged in activity here. I see you are logged in here, and this is your IP address. So this is my IP address. So what it is it will log your activity, who logged in at what time. Based on that, that's how you're tracked. Even though you would have direct root access, you're just not able to type in the full root access directly, and then you won't be able to go in directly. You have to log in as a regular user, then elevate yourself as root. So let me exit out of here. Exit and clear. Now see how I am able to SSH into this server here without any problem here, right? Boom. So that is not allowed. So why is it not allowed? Because it's a security risk. So let's see where we need to do the configuration so that the direct root access is not allowed. So for that, what you have to do is you have to do the etc folder, vi etc ssh and ssh sshd. Okay, sshd. Okay, you got to be careful here. There is one ssh config and sshd config. file too. So I'm gonna go in there and looking for okay, so it says login permit root login. It says yes here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna uncomment it and I'm gonna say no. Okay, and so let's see here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clear this, and now I'm gonna try to connect from here to here and see what happens. So I'm able to connect, right? Why I'm able to connect? I need to restart the service. This is a new command, system ctl restart sshd. Okay, so what will happen is it will refresh in the background. Okay.
So wait, why would you want to not allow to just immediately log in for the administrator or whoever the root user is, whoever has to do the updating, whatever? Wasn't the whole purpose to make it so it's easier for them to log in and not have to type in the password every time?
Yeah, no, I mean that's why it's a security risk though, right?
Yeah.
So what will happen is you have to connect to one specific server, which is called Bastion host. I think I should copy this here. It's called one specific server. You go in there and you connect there. That way you leave some kind of trail that you connected as a administrator. You are an administrator, but you connected as a regular admin.
Okay.
And you're leaving a trail here. Now this Bastion host is very, very hardened. That's what it's called.
Okay.
And it's robust. And this is where the hackers will try to hack in combination with DNS. So if hacker is able to get hold of Bastion host, then he will wreak havoc inside the network. So now let's take a look here and see if I'm able to log in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do here. Now it's asking for the password, root password.
So what you're saying is if you go through the Bastion host, that will have immediate access or no?
If he's able to pass through it.
Okay. No, I'm saying for the admin who logs in and goes through there, they will be able to get immediate access to just go through without typing in a password?
No. Here, the admin will use his personal regular ID. So you will have two IDs. You will have access to root, but your root ID is not your personal ID. So when you go on to a job, you will have they will give you a new ID. You log in with your ID as Zafar ID to this Bastion host. And Bastion host is hardened. One of the hardening things that is done is deny root access. So see right here, permission is denied. Can you believe that the permission is denied for the root? Okay, this is one layer of security. So if I add a user here, I'm going too much into administration. I don't want to go into administration yet. So let's see. For now, what I'm going to do is so for now, I'm going to create a user at Zephyr, and I'm going to set password. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel this, and I'm doing SSH as Zephyr act, and then the password. I'm able to go in there as a root. Now there is one other thing here. There is a called sudo super user do that I will cover during administration. So what will happen during that time is you have to be part of a group. You have to type like sudo.
Doesn't it elevate your permissions to like?
Then it will elevate your permissions. sudo su and hit enter. Then it will ask for the password here. So let me go ahead and add it to the wheel group. Okay, so I'm gonna say group add -ag wheel % or just wheel. Let's see here. Cat etc group. So there is a group in here called wheel. Right here, wheel. So what I'm going to do is ID is Zephyr. AG okay, group add. A is invalid. What are you talking about? -G. Oh God, I can't believe this. AG, no, I have to give Zephyr, then name of the group. No? Maybe wheel, then I have to give Zephyr. Sudo let's try usermod -ag Zephyr. No, maybe wheel. Okay, yeah, it worked. So there is a wheel group that is a part of a sudoers, right? So let's see if it's gonna work. Um, why is it saying no, I'm not a part of sudoers? VA is sudo. User mod. So let me get out of it and get back in there, okay? So I'm going back in there. Now I'm gonna clear this. There you go. Now I'm able to switch to the root. Sudo su root. It still asks me for my password. Okay, and then let's do last. So you have some good activity going on here. And then you see here that Zafar is logged in around this time. There are other logs I'll show you later on. So now if the hacker gets in here, that means he have full access to anywhere he wanted to go. So denying the access to the root, direct access to the root to the Bastion host adds an extra layer of security. So let's see here, deny direct root connection here. So what I'm gonna do is Q here. So the file you have to do is VIETC etc sshd.conf sshd_conf. So you go in there and you make sure root login no. Okay, so you save and exit, and after that you have to restart the service. Restart the service. Okay, so this is a new command here. So the command with system ctl restart sshd. Okay, so what is that? System ctl restart.
You spelled system wrong. You put the C before the M. I mean after the M.
Okay, yeah, that's my STE. There you go. So it restarted the system. And SSH stands for SSH service. D stands for daemon. So I'm going to explain in a second here. So the changes will take effect. Okay, so now, changes will take effect after restart. So now if I'm trying to log in as root, so what I'm going to do is see, even though passwordless SSH is set up, it's asking for the password, and then it's going to say deny. It's going to explicitly say deny. So permission denied here. So now you think, okay, wait a minute here. Sometimes it's not that easy for it to come into host here. I mean, you could easily steal somebody's ID, right? What else you could do is you could deny access from the specific network. Okay, so for that, what you have to do is, so you do Control C, you clear, and for this host, what I'm gonna do is, let me get host name for. So we're working on ZMPT2, right, to secure it. So I want to deny the access from the traffic coming in from a specific location. Okay, so what I could do is, I get the, what I do is I do a IPA, and so I look at it here, and I would see this part here, right? 192.168.0.250. So based on this information, I'll deny the access here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the same configuration file again, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for the listen address. Okay, I'm gonna uncomment this, and here I'm gonna, in fact, let me copy this here. So what I'm gonna do is
Can we take a quick 10-minute pause? We go break.
yeah, sure. Continue. So you go into this file here and change the listen address to. What this will do is this will deny so it will deny listen to, it will allow access. Let's see if it's going to allow or deny here. I'm not sure. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is even as Zafar, let's see if I could go there, and then oh no, I need to restart the service. So save and exit. And
So in the work environment, is there anybody who has total access without having to enter any kind of password to multiple servers?
yeah, once you become root. Not everybody. What do you mean? Like database
No, I mean, like,
team and all those, or only Linux team? Only the Unix team.
Linux team,
Yeah.
for the administrators and stuff. Because
Yeah.
you turned it off, right? The access to it, permissions for even the root, you turned it off right now when you went into the SSHD configuration.
Yeah. So I turn it off, but the Zafar user has a sudo access, so he could elevate himself. He could become root. So only the Unix team people working in the Unix team will become root.
No, but even right now, when you were in root, when you were trying to get access into the server, it was still making you use the password. So.
It will ask for that, and then it will check against it. It will definitely ask for the password. Yeah.
No, I'm saying, is there any user who can just get access without entering any password?
I'm sorry, I was closing the door. What was the question again?
So is there anybody who has access to changing servers without having to enter the password? Or no?
Changing servers. So like you going from one server to another server.
But you don't have to enter the password. You're just able to straight go in.
Passwordless, right? You're talking about?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, the root users do it, but you cannot do it. You cannot do that to Bastion host.
Okay, so whoever is using Bastion host, you don't have that access ability to do
Yes, exactly. So the people, the regular, most of the time, the people who's using Bastion host is Unix team, Linux team, and they jump.
Okay.
It's called jump box. The slang word is jump, but the real technical is Bastion. I think it has some history into it. If you just search up what a Bastion means, it's like protected environment.
So not every company will use that.
Everybody uses Bastion. This one here?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody uses it.
So then who will have access to go passwordless? Which group?
Oh, I think what I should do is, uh, yeah, you have a very good point here. Okay, so here the Bastion users, you should change this to Linux host users. Okay, consider
Okay.
this as a Linux team. Okay,
Okay.
and you have everybody in the Linux team have their own personal IDs. Okay,
Okay.
I'll connect with my personal ID to the Bastion host. Okay,
Okay.
it will verify me. Now, if I want to jump onto the other servers passwordless, I have to switch to root. The only way you will be able to switch to root is you have to be the you have to be the part of the wheel group.
Okay. And
You have to
sudo.
have a elevated access to your regular ID. Okay.
Okay.
I think I failed to put in some information here. Yeah, you got a good point here. So once you're in here, you become root. You come in as a regular user, and then you become root in here. From there, then you jump onto any other servers. Okay, as
And
I
that
said.
would,
I'm
for the
sorry,
root.
what?
That would be passwordless for the root.
Yeah, that's how become passwordless, yes.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not showing too much information. I will come back here. I'll come back here and explain it once we are done with the user administration, how that works. Because
Okay.
since you didn't know the other area, which is the user administration, which is a very big topic in itself. Once you understand that, everything else will clear up.
Okay. Because I was just wondering when you did use the root user right now from the ZMPT1 to connect to ZMPT2, it still asks for the password.
It will ask for the password, but it will deny the connection. It will deny. So if I'm doing it here, like passwordless. Oh, okay. Now I think I even deny the connection from the specific user or the specific. Yeah. See, the connection refused. Why? Because I went in there and I told the system here any connection coming from
The
any
listen address.
address here. In fact, this would be 0. If you put this as 0 here, any anything that is coming from 192, 168, 156 dot, and then any number from 1 to 256 will be denied access.
Okay.
I'll cover a little bit of networking, then that way you would know what is going on here. So yeah, there will be some gray areas at this moment here because there's a lot of things that need to be addressed before you understand everything fully. So yeah, your question is valid. Why you cannot connect directly as root? Then once you get in there, how you gonna do this? So you come in as a regular user, then you become root. That's what it is. Let's see here. I could give you a good example here. Let me. root. So clear. So one thing I was going to show you is deny. So what we did so far is we denied the connection from the specific network here, right? What you could do is you could deny access from the rest of the world and allow access from specific network, okay? Specific network. Showing up on okay, yeah, let's just look at this. So what else you could do is let me go ahead and remove the access. So exit. So the connection is flat out refused, okay? If the connection is coming from any other network, then it will be allowed. So connection is refused. What else you could do is you could allow only specific users, okay? How do we do that? So you go back in this box here. Here I'm gonna put a pound sign. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is allow users Zephyr. Okay, so we have here allow agent. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say allow users, and I'll create a new user terminator. Okay, let me save and exit, and let me restart this, and then I'm gonna create user add terminator password. So now what I'm gonna do is go here and so go in this side here and try to connect as Zafar. 109, right? 192.168.56.109. I'm gonna say Red Hat, and it's thinking now. So Zafar is, the moment I added this line in here, now everything else, which line I added here? I added this line on the bottom here, right? So allow users terminator. So now you have to add the users right next to the line there. So the user terminator, if the user terminator is there, then he should be able to connect. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel this. Instead of Zafar, now I'm gonna say terminator and Red Hat. There you go, he's able to get it. So that is one other way that you could keep restricting the access here. So we have already added 3 layers here. One is the root layer. Root cannot get into, that's one layer. The second layer is specific to network, you cannot get in there, and it's specific to user. Okay, so then you could go ahead and create a file in there and add users, so that the users is whoever is allowed to get in there get access. I'm gonna say so at end of the file, add this here terminator here. Okay, let's go back in there and add Zafar and see if the Zafar is able to allow get in there. Okay, so let me go ahead and exit. Now let's go back as Zafar, and he should be able to get in there. The reason he's not is I have to restart the service. There you go, I'm back in. Okay, did you get the concept here?
Yes, I got it now.
Yep. All right, we're gonna end here, and then hopefully I'll try to change the timings here, and then respond in the group here. So if you're okay with that, and hopefully everybody agrees with the timing, because nobody joined today, barely. All right, so I'm gonna stop here, then we'll continue next week.